Hello friends, Namaskar and welcome all of you to my channel. Today discussion will be more about the concept of analysis of receivable and operating assets, and for which I would be discussing the your two section of the question here. One is A part is your factoring of receivable, and you will find the concept about your impairment loss, that is the simply fill in the blanks questions. And the next that's the B part is your multiple choice questions, where we would be discussing the four question sets here. Now, based on this background, let's discuss about what we understand by the receivable. Basically, once we sell the goods and services on the credit, then that we say that receivable. And operating asset is all about like your basically is the non-current assets. And I believe that whatever I question discuss, that would enrich your understanding level. Now this question is about the factoring of receivable. Basically this is the another sources of raising the working capital by an business entity. Here working capital, you can say that we have two concept of working capital. One is the gross concept of working capital, that is simply working capital equals to total current assets, and net working capital is the current asset minus current liabilities. This is simply the explanation of the working capital. Now second question is about your the fill in the blanks about your this is the fill in the blanks. Now an impairment loss is the amount by which the carrying amount of an asset exceeds its recoverable amount. That is the this carrying amount, which is also known as the book value of the assets. That is nothing. Once you exclude the accumulated depreciation from the original cost of the machine, then that is called impairment loss. Okay, and basically that is all about your its recoverable amount. Now let's move to the multiple choice questions. I already solved these questions, and I believe that you could follow this way you could solve the questions. Now at first read the question carefully. This is about the ABC company had the credit sales of 5 lakh, and current account receivable balance we have a 3,20,000. Now allowances for doubtful accounts has a credit balance of the 5,000, and historically 10% of the account receivable ending balance is not collected. That is the case of basically uncollectible accounts. Basically we have a two approach, friends. One is called direct write-off approach, and next one is the allowances approach. And under allowances we have again the two. One is the percentage of sales approach, and next one is the percentage of receivable. Anyway, this is the case of receivable approach. So we can say that this question is about what would be your adjusted bad debt expenses. Now this is the case of you are given the credit balance of doubtful accounts. So at first this question is about estimated uncollectible account, or you can say that bad debt expenses. So targeted balance of doubtful account expenses minus credit balance of doubtful account, for that you need to consider here. So 10% of 3,20,000 is your targeted balance, and while actually we have a credit balance is there 5,000, and simply the credit balance will happen when you overestimate the probable bad debt, friends. Okay, so we say that this question is about what would be your adjusted bad debt expenses here. So that is the estimated uncollectible account is 27,000. So this 27,000 is the right answer. Now what about the next question then? Question number 2. This is the from B part 1 question. Now let's move to the second question. Now business has a year end 31st December. That means business will be closing this period, and it purchased the non-current asset, that is the fixed assets, on January 1st 2014 for 1 lakh, and it was depreciated using the reducing balance method at 20% per annum. Now if it was sold for 40,000 on January 1st 2016, what was the loss on the disposal part? Okay, then basic your concept is that the book value here. So you simply organize your given information like this based on the once you read the question carefully. Now what would be the loss on disposal here? So again you need to find the book value here. So book value on which date? Disposal of the machine. So you say that January 1st 2016 you are going to estimate your book value of the machine here. So cost of assets minus accumulated depreciation is known as your, that is the simply book value of the machine Now cost of the assets we have, that is the how much we have cost of assets. Okay, cost of asset is here 1 lakh is there, 1 lakh, and then exclude the all depreciations. That means you have used for 2 years. So since you are using the diminishing balance method, you are reducing balance method. So first year, that is the 20% of this 1 lakh, then that is the 20,000. Now at the end of the 1 year, you would have a value of book value would be the 80,000. So you would be charging again the 20% of 80,000, right? So you would have a depreciation of 20,000 in first year and 16,000 is in second year. The nature of diminishing balance method is that, friends, your amount of depreciation will be reducing as you calculate the depreciation based on the book value. Okay, so in this case you would have a how much you have a book value is there. Book value is 64,000. Now you are comparing with its selling value. Yeah, you can say that your disposal value, that's 40,000. So we can say that there will be loss on disposal of machine, that is 24,000, as book value of the machine is higher than that its disposal value. Okay, now this way you could organize your answer. Now what about the other questions? This is about the question number 3, friends. Now what is the purpose of making provision for depreciation in accounts? In the accounts, yeah, company account, you can say that. So right option is that to charge the cost of fixed assets against the profit. Now you need to justify your answer now. So you can say that we know that the depreciation is a non-cash expenses and is treated as a loss and chargeable to the profit and loss account each year. So we need to make a provision for depreciation so that we could ascertain, you can say that, find the company's true financial position. Okay, even we have to exclude the non-cash expenses to find the true company's financial position. That is the basic explanation of the question number 3. Now let's move to this is the last question, that is the question number 4. The following information was available, that is the case of you are given the that is the case of your accumulated depreciation we have 45,000, profit on disposal is that 8,100, while sale proceeds, that is the 75,600. Now what was the original cost of the machine? So while solving the question, friends, basically you have to understand the concept first of all, right? So you organize the given information. This question is about what would be your original cost of machine, that is the V. Okay, so again we know that book value of the machine is original cost minus accumulated depreciation. So without knowing the book value here, you cannot solve the question. So at first in working note, your job is to sell proceed, we know that, and sell proceed is that, since this is the case of profit, so book value plus profit is known as your sell proceeds. So sell proceed, that's a selling value is there 75,600, friends. So book value we don't know. Yeah, you can assume that X be the book value. Profit on disposal is there. So book value of the machine is now 67,000, that is 500. But actually that is not demanded question here. So again you move to this equation, that is the book value of the machine equals to original cost minus accumulated depreciation, friends. Okay, now 67,500 and we don't know the V here, that is original cost, and accumulated depreciation is given in the question. So that is why you would have a original cost of machine would be 1,12,500. Basically, friends, when we solve the questions, your answer and how you present your answer part is also important. Just answer is right and your process you just follow the shortcut, then in that case your examiner may deduct some marks. So be careful while solving the question, friends. Okay, friends, I believe that whatever I discussed today about the some questions, selected question from the analysis of receivable and operating assets, and you could learn the concept accordingly by following your textbook, your reference book. If you really like this content, please like, subscribe, and also share my channel, that is the Finance Guru, Pawan Kumar Jha. Thank you all of you for watching this video. Please take care all of you. Thank you.